it has been officially confirmed that Sonic Movie 4 is slated to be shown in IMAX screens. The first time this film series has done IMAX. I imagine most people know or has a good rough idea as to what IMAX is, but I had a thought that maybe some Sonic fans don't know much or at all what IMAX is and how it would be beneficial to Sonic Movie 4. That's what led me to making this video on the topic. As someone who loves to watch films, especially in the cinema, and has been to watch IMAX for, as of this video, 2 movies, and watched some releases of other movies like Marvel stuff on Disney+, or movie series like Avatar and Mission Impossible would use the IMAX version for their home media release. I know what there is to know about seeing a movie in IMAX, and why seeing Sonic Movie 4 in an IMAX cinema will make a big difference than if you watched it in a standard cinema, or when the movie releases on DVD and Blu-ray, or to streaming. So what is IMAX, some of you may be asking? Going off of the definition from Wikipedia, IMAX is a proprietary system of high-resolution cameras, film formats, film projectors, and originally known for having a very large screen with a tall aspect ratio, about 1.43 to 1, and steep stadium seating. More recently, the aspect ratio has mostly become 1.90 to 1, slightly wider than the 35mm American and British widescreen standard for a theatrical film of 1.85 to 1, with the 1.3 to 1 ratio format being available only in select locations. In other words, it would allow a movie that's usually displayed in widescreen with black bars on the top and bottom of the screen, allowing you to see what's underneath those bars, so you're getting more of the picture. There's lots of examples of movies that use IMAX to make a big difference, such as MCU movies like Iron Man, Captain America Civil War, Doctor Strange, all of the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, Avengers Infinity War and Endgame, Spider-Man No Way Home, and most recently from Marvel, The Fantastic Four First Steps. Other big name movies that used IMAX is the Doom movies, James Cameron's Avatar movies, Mission Impossible from Fallout onwards, and pretty much most movies from director Christopher Nolan like The Dark Knight, Interstellar, Oppenheimer, and his newest movie releasing in July, The Odyssey. One of the biggest films out recently that people love seeing in IMAX is Project Hail Mary, a wide selection of IMAX movies, and sometimes these IMAX cinemas may release them again just so if someone wants to see it in IMAX, they can. So not only will you get a bigger experience seeing Sonic 4 in IMAX, you're essentially seeing it in the most definitive way than if you saw it in a regular cinema or on your TV or whatever device you use to watch movies. While standard cinemas are a great way to watch movies, and of course not every movie does IMAX like the first 3 Sonic movies didn't go for it, which is a shame. I would have loved to have seen Sonic 2 and 3 in the IMAX display. However, when they do go for it, you know it's going to make a huge difference to the experience. As I said earlier, I only saw 2 movies in an IMAX cinema as of this video, those being Pixar's Lightyear and last year's F1. Probably not the best choices for an IMAX viewing, but they did expand the aspect ratio like I talked about before, and they were both separate cases of how the IMAX format is displayed. In Lightyear, the expanded scenes were only in certain parts of the movie, like the big action sequences such as when Buzz is attempting to reach hyperspeed. F1, however, it was in the IMAX format for the entire movie from start to finish. Seeing a movie in IMAX either in chunks or the entirety does show a big difference in how it is displayed. And this is what filmmakers and cinematographers know and try to take advantage of when they can. One of the best cases of the usage of aspect ratios in standard display in IMAX is Sinners. Take a look at these comparisons. The difference is insane. There's actually 2 times Sonic was able to show what different aspect ratios with black bars on top and bottom being present or not looks like, and that's probably going to be the best examples I'll have for the Sonic fans who are probably still a bit confused. Let's start with the earliest example of this in the opening cutscene of Sonic Unleashed. I would love to talk about that cutscene itself, but I'd be here forever. In the HD version of the game released for Xbox 360 and PS3, the cutscene is displayed in 1.85 to 1. In other words, 21:9 or 16:9 with black bars on the top and bottom. It's incredible to watch. It feels like you're watching a Sonic movie. Before there was a Sonic movie. Not to brag, but I actually got to watch this cutscene on a cinema screen, and that was incredible. If you want to see that for yourself, click the link in the description and the card in the corner for the video where I played parts of Unleashed in the cinema. Anyways, the cutscene captures how really good the concept of a Sonic movie would be at the time. Pretty much all the pre-rendered cutscenes in the game do that. I consider Sonic Unleashed a scrap movie that got turned into a video game. Now with that said about the opening cutscene and even the game itself, there was a second version of this cutscene which you can see on the Wii and PS2 version of the game before the title screen. Other than how subtitles were displayed, the biggest difference is the aspect ratio, which is presented in 1.78:1, or as commonly known, 16:9. If you looked at both versions of the cutscene side by side, you can see the difference in the screen size, and it's almost like you're seeing the cutscene in IMAX. Why did they do this for the opening cutscene? I don't have the actual reason as to why this was done, but if I were to guess, it's because that most people that played on the Wii and PS2 were seeing it in a 4x3 TV. So rather than having the cutscene displayed the same as it was on 360 and PS3, they decided to help them out by removing the black bars on the top and bottom, which is honestly a fair enough reason. I'll take it over how the cutscenes of Super Mario Galaxy does it, where in that game, when displayed in 4x3, it'll be a pan and scan of the cutscene to be a 16:9 display, rather than the 21:9 display like it's shown in the 16:9 version of the game. Thankfully, Unleashed on Wii and PS2 doesn't suffer this. It's just 16:9 all the way, even if you're playing on a 4x3 TV. The second example I have is actually from the first Sonic movie. Confused? Let me explain. The film across all accounts is displayed in the 21:9 aspect ratio, just like the case with movies 2 and 3, and a lot of other movies. Pretty standard stuff. Sometimes when a movie airs on a TV network, they either keep the aspect ratio the same, or they pan and scan to fit a 16:9 display. However, there was a time where all they did was instead remove the black bars from the top and bottom, much like the Unleashed cutscene, or even an IMAX viewing. This was the case with the first Sonic movie when it aired on Nickelodeon in the US on August 18th of 2022. If we compare these screenshots I have of the Nickelodeon airing of the movie with the standard release of the movie, while it is missing some from the sides, the top and bottom you can see more of the picture. It's pretty interesting seeing the movie this way. You can even see some small details previously not seen in the standard, like when Sonic goes meow, you can see how his other hand is posed in that shot. Or like that one close-up near the end of the movie, you can actually see Sonic smile. Pretty similar to that one shot that they used in the redesign trailer. Although there is one major flaw with this version of the movie. One of the most common things to happen in TV airings of movies is a lot of censoring of certain things that cannot be said on TV compared to if they can be said in a movie made for cinemas. One of the biggest examples of this is Snakes on a Plane when Samuel L. Jackson says his iconic line from the movie in the standard version and the TV version. For most grown-up movies and whatnot, you can kind of understand the reason to censor something, although it gets really confusing when it's censored for a kids movie. But it is present in the Sonic movie because TV guidelines are different from traditional movie guidelines. So while not a full definitive way to watch the movie due to the censoring, seeing it in this format is an interesting watch. Sonic Movie 2, when that reached Nickelodeon, it didn't change the aspect ratio, but it did get the censoring. To my knowledge, Sonic Movie 3 hasn't aired yet, but I imagine it'll go either way with some censoring, or worst case scenario, it's just a pan and scan. So why would IMAX be beneficial for Sonic Movie 4? Well, if theories of the plot and what this movie could entail, we could be getting the grandiest Sonic movie of all in scope. Maybe going into space and time travel playing a factor, with Mel Sonic being the big villain they'll have. I think IMAX is going to make all the action sequences shine the greatest. It's a give or take if Movie 4 would use IMAX for the whole film or just certain scenes. I'll be content either way, but with one of my hopes for the movie being a Metal Overlord battle, I want to see that in IMAX. If you're able to go to an IMAX cinema, I strongly recommend it. If they were to release the IMAX version onto DVD and Blu-ray, I do think it's worth checking out there too. But I feel when you're watching an IMAX version of a movie at home, it feels like you're observing the frame, whereas if you watched it in an actual IMAX cinema screen, it feels like you're inside of it. If you're unable to go to an IMAX cinema when Sonic Movie 4 comes out next March, going to a standard cinema to see it is still pretty good too. If you want my recommendations, try sitting near the front of a cinema screen. I do it a lot at the cinema I go to regularly to watch movies, and it's the closest I have to seeing the movie in IMAX, especially in my cinema's two biggest screens we have. I am absolutely going to see Sonic 4 in IMAX when it comes out. Probably not the first viewing of the film, but without a doubt I'll go see it in IMAX most likely that same weekend. They are near the end of filming as of me writing this video, and I can't wait to see what they have in store for us and how it will look in IMAX, as they do upload the IMAX versions of certain trailers. Sometimes it's just a re-upload of the same trailer, but other times it is the trailer with the IMAX shots. So when the trailer for Sonic 4 releases, if they have the IMAX version of it, be on the lookout. So what do you think? Are you going to see Sonic Movie 4 in IMAX? Have you been to see a movie in IMAX? Let me know in the comments below and with your thoughts on IMAX. I would love to get a discussion going. Shout out to my patrons Typhoon and Andres, and my YouTube member BAG Gomez. Much appreciated, guys. If you would like to have your name at the end of the videos, all you have to do is either go to the links in the description to my Patreon or my YouTube membership and join whatever tier you feel satisfied with. If you're unable to do that, maybe just do the hype button thing that you can now do on YouTube Mobile if you can do that. Either way is much appreciated. So with that said, I thank you all for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Blue Sky, and I will see you all in the next video. So until then, take care. See you guys.